Yes, okay, the Red Book. It's said to be the country's first and most comprehensive mobile and landline directory Red Book. But what is it all about? This morning we will find out with CEO Richard Robinson.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Robinson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell
So
us
Rob, how are you doing?
I'm good, my brother. How are you doing?
That's
Tell
okay.
us all about this.
I'm doing pretty good.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, I'm cool.
Good, good.
But just tell us all about your Red Book and all that. What different does it portray from the regular thing we call the Yellow Book?
Well, several things, but let me see if I can run through them quickly for you. First of all, Red Book is going to be a very comprehensive information directory. We're going to strongly encourage the inclusion of all landlines, all cell phones, all levels of businesses, from your blue chip companies in the country all the way through to your small micro enterprise and your informal people to individuals.
So you're saying nobody will be left out?
Nobody will be left out. Everybody who wants to be in will be in. And it's an opt-in service. Nobody is forced to be in the book. You actually pay to be listed or to advertise in the book. Now, you know, we're very, very excited about it because there's a whole portfolio of people who have never really before felt that, felt inclined to advertise in an information directory. And we're going to be educating and encouraging them as to the value of doing this kind of a thing to build their businesses and by extension build the economy of the country. So, you know, we're talking about all types of people who thought themselves too small, or because they had cell phones thought that they were not able, despite the fact that they were able. But, you know, we're going to be the ones proactively pushing it to really provide a comprehensive solution.
So in truth, it's a commercial book. This is not something for me to list my house phone number, and it's a commercial book.
Well, it serves two purposes. From one standpoint, yes, it is a commercial book. It's an advertising medium for all levels of business and individual, entrepreneurs, so to speak. But at the same time, if you, for example, lived in a very rural area and people found it hard to find you, and you decided, I wanted to make it easier for me to be found. You know, let's say you had relatives coming from abroad. It's the perfect medium for you to list in, because then they would know to look to Red Book and find you. Mm-hmm. You know, so it serves several purposes. And, you know, just to add to that, what we're also going to be doing differently is that we're actually going to have 5 books across the country. So we're going to regionalize the book, which means now that each book representing each region becomes much more relevant to that region. From the advertiser's standpoint, they can advertise in a book without worrying about being lost in a whole listing of other advertisers who have nothing to do with the area. You know, so their listing becomes more visible, and their response, the response to that listing or advertising becomes greater and more effective.
What's the style? What's the creativity? What's the innovation?
What makes it different from the other
What
one?
excites me now to go to the Red Book? I'm not the same old, previous historic jargon.
Better you said that than me, eh? Right. But several things. I mean, let me ask you right now. If you live in Spanish Town, correct?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. How readily can you find, let's say, a painter, a plumber, an electrician within a 5 or 10 or 20 mile radius of what you want, without having to skim through all the other people in the book in order to find what you need? Right? Or if, for example, you wanted something like a day's worker. You don't have a standard day's worker right now, but you need one to come in for a week because you have some family coming from abroad and you need the extra help in the house. How quickly can you do that? I mean, well, you're a connected man, so you better than others maybe can do it. But the average person might have some difficulty. So that's a value to the consumer, right? And again, by making the book regional, when that consumer goes under a particular heading, whatever it may be, to look for a listing, they don't have to look through listings. Let's say you're in Spanish Town again. They don't have to look through listings for all over the place, you know, Montego Bay, wherever else, before they find a listing that has to do with their region.
I think the only difficulty I may foresee is the fact that I'm going to end up with 5 books on my desk, and for some people it's already cumbersome to have that one book. So,
and that is a concern, but look at it this way. 99% of the time, you're going to be looking in one book, because you're going to find that most of the goods and services that you actually use, you use within the 10 to 20 mile radius of where you live or work. So 99%, you know, let's say you work in Kingston, for example, and you live in, let's stretch it, Clarendon, right? you're probably going to have the Clarendon book at home and the Kingston book at the office, right? That's a long drive, but some people do it,
Yeah.
right? So that's how you would. But again, all 5 books will be, first of all, available in all 5 regions. So if you actually wanted to stack the 5 books, you could, for completeness sake. But remember, again, 99% of the time, you're pretty much going to need that one book, and because it's going to be smaller, the form factor is going to be smaller. It's going to be easy for you to move around with, house to car to office to whatever. Additionally, all that information is going to be available online and eventually on your smartphone and with dial-up services. So you'll have access to it regardless of whether you have the physical book or not.
So you're saying that commercial entities will be included, private lines will be included as well too, mobile lines as well too, all of that,
All
cell
of that.
phones, all of that.
Every single number you can conceive of can be listed or advertised for whatever reason you
Okay.
can conceive of.
Tremendous potential for advertisers, eh? Speak to that
Oh
first.
yes, huge, huge. You know, I mean, it's going to benefit the blue chips of the country, as you can appreciate, because now we have competition. Now we have an alternative. And where there's competition, the country benefits. We've seen that so many times in our history. Okay? So we bring competition to it, everybody benefits. But it's also going to benefit the guy who never felt inclined to advertise before, because to him, that's a big people thing. Right? And now he sees an opportunity where actually he can build his business, whatever it may be. He may be a peanut vendor. He may be a pan chicken man who perhaps sits on a roadside a Friday night and a Saturday night, and that's the extent of his business right now, decides to advertise in RedBook and say, look, I'm available for parties.
You're now selling
You know?
both advertising and listing space. How do your rates compare with your competition?
Well, they're going to be significantly less. Even if you were to go across all 5 books of ours, still the combined package would be significantly less.
Where do you get the Red Book?
Where did the name come from?
Where do you get Red Book?
Oh,
Or if you don't
RedBook.
access it, where do you
Eventually,
find
when RedBook is distributed, it's going to be distributed across the country through the digital dealer stores, which, by the way, you can go to right now to sign up for listings if you would like. And we have field agents out as well. But to get back to your question, it's going to be distributed across the country through the digital dealer stores. We will distribute to key locations as well where there are a large number of employees. It will be ubiquitous. It will be available everywhere.
All over the place.
We're going to be printing at least 600,000 books, and if demand calls for more, we will print more.
All right, CEO Richard Robinson of the newest, it's said to be the most comprehensive mobile and landline directory. It's called RedBook.
RedBook.
Yeah, different color. RedBook, that's one. Richard Robinson, thank you so very much, sir, for joining us
Thanks so much,
this
Richard.
morning on the program. It's an extended version of CVM as well this morning. Of course, it is to facilitate our coverage or canvassing of Nomination Day activities, which started from just after 6 this morning. Garfield Burford will be rejoining us a little bit later on as we continue. But still to come on our program, we look at responses to our Facebook question. And the Facebook question this morning was, who won the debate? Simply that.
Yeah.
Who won the debate that
Who
took
do you
place on
think won?
Saturday night between the youngsters of the JLP and the youngsters of the PNP? Tell us who you think won it. And
And tell me why too.
Yes, we'll have some birthday greetings. We'll have some community notices, more with our celebrity guest host, Reneto Adams, when we come back after this.
Face looking all sweet, grinding on me like she looking for a beat. Yeah, wavy or so.